Check 1 2. Check check. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Are we getting some feed? Let me check and see. I'm gonna check my chat window. Hey, Matthias, how are you? I'm going to do a quick level check, okay? Just wanna, how's my volume? Is my volume pretty good? I've got the air conditioner running in here, which is its own beast. Hey, what's happening, Film Score Analysis? How are you? Hello, hello. I'm gonna check my level. How's the vocal level? Pretty solid. And I'm gonna check the piano level against the vocal level. Okay. And then back with vocal level right there. Is that pretty good? It's the vocals are pretty, piano's not overpowering. Okay, and then I've got, I'm just gonna grab some, I'm just gonna grab some of this. Bring it down to about here. How's this volume for, we're not doing this. How's this, solid? How's vocals to this? Vocals to this is pretty good. Good. Hey Todd, what's happening? How are you? Ah, yes. All right, I'm close enough of a balance right now that I'm in good shape. Let me just check one more thing. I just want to check, make sure I have a limiter on my voice. Let me think here. Just checking. OBS has done some wonderful new stuff. And I just want to make sure, yep, I've got a limiter. We're all set. Didn't change anything. And we're going to start in just about a minute. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I've got it right about, you can see I've got it kind of right about in the middle, and the middle will kind of give me enough that I can pump it for the quiet stuff and I can kill it for the loud stuff. And the piano. Meet you all the way. Rose, what is it? Ah, why's my keyboard doing this? Hold on a sec, don't be doing this to me. Why are you being a pill? Hold on just a second. Oh, I might need to get a new keyboard. It's always on the live stream that the keyboard starts getting dicey. Hold on just a sec here. Where are you? Oh, I know why. Okay, hold on one second. Oh, this is going to be a problem. This, I might need to, here we go. Oh, I might need to be getting, might be getting a new keyboard this summer. You all the way. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, here we go. This will be interesting. Listen, my keyboard's starting to give up the ghost. It's like turning off and on, which is never a good thing to see. All right. Well, Chillbot's been harassing me to. Chillbot's been harassing me to get a new keyboard, so I guess I'm gonna have to get a new keyboard then. Great. The money comes in, the money goes out. Okay, it's 2:39. I think we're going to get started right now. Just check one more time, make sure I've got mic levels. We're good to go. And yes, okay, great. I'm getting all sorts of tweets. Okay. Oh wow, man! Everybody's here. Get the all new black keyboard from NI. Yeah, no, I can't. I need a mod wheel for it. I want to get the Roland RD2000, which is like $2,000 or something like that. Yes. Oh, let me check. Did I get it set to HD res? I think I checked at 2:00 and I did the 1920 to 1080 thing. So this is good. We got a good 1080 thing going here. And what's up, Jal? How you doing? Okay, 10 minutes. Let's get started. Welcome. It's been a while. It's been a month since Farkle Friday. I apologize. When it rains, it pours. I have gotten hit with a bunch of work and a bunch of new things. Matter of fact, when I'm done with this, I've got to go back and sign a contract so I can start a next project, which I will tell you about after I'm in the weeds of it, because I've learned through experience that you never talk about your project until the project is, if not done, well on the way. And you certainly don't talk about it until the contract is signed, because until the contract is signed, all it is an idea. But it's great to see you guys here. And today, by popular request, I kind of threw out to a bunch of the guys, I said, and girls, I said, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to think about today? And they said orchestration and ostinatos. And I said, well, I'll do orchestration first because I want to do orchestration first. And so let me quickly boot up my famous little text pad here, because I always do that. And let's talk a little bit about orchestration. Let's kind of break down a little bit the thought about orchestration. And okay, no problem. Yeah, Zavia has just forwarded that we're up and running. And this one, I want people to please ask questions as I'm doing this. I've got a couple things that I want to cover, and we're going to do some live examples, and probably at some point I'm going to boot up my my orchestral template so we can kind of see what I'm doing. But please ask some questions, because a lot of people kind of have very specific orchestration questions. And as always, I have two things to say about this. One is the standard disclaimer of you guys have heard it 1,000 times. I'm one person with one opinion. I have some background in orchestration. I've orchestrated for television, and I've done it for TV, and and for film, and I've write orchestral music. But I'm just one dude, and if I do something and someone like Conrad Popes or Alexander Courage does something different, or Del Hake, it's like, go with them. They're the guys that have been, Ron Jones, the guys who've been in the weeds. But I think I have some things I can offer and talk about that a little bit. So here's a couple of things that I'm thinking about orchestration. The first is that, and the second thing is this. I'm gonna probably say I'm a very non-contentious YouTuber. But this is one of the few areas where I'm probably going to say some contentious things. And that's why I wanted to disclaim it with, hey, I'm one dude with one idea. You may not agree with me, and it's totally cool. If you're making good music and you're doing your stuff and you've got clients and you're selling albums and you're writing music that you're saying something to the world, that's awesome. But I'm going to say some contentious stuff. So just be prepared for it, kind of pour yourself a beverage. If it's 10:30 in the morning over in LA, pour yourself a mimosa or something. I'm on today's brought to you by Evan Williams, which is a real cheap bourbon. It's just heavy on the Diet Coke. But it's good for this. And thanks for letting me push back a half an hour too, because I was really sweaty. Okay. When people think of orchestration, okay, what are the words that we're hearing in today's orchestrating? All right, let's just go right to the feed here, right? It's like, when everyone says orchestra, what do you think of? Epic, dramatic, right? Larger than life. Okay, there's not too many variables. Emotional. This is the kind of things that we're hearing when we're talking about orchestration, and they're all valid. Okay, but to think about orchestration like that is to think about like a drum kit. And to be like, well, what can you do with drums? I can do epic, and I can do brrr, and I can blast, and I can do this. I'm like, yeah. But that's just one thing. An orchestra or a piano. It's like I can just batch it and just these like Hinastera pieces that are like these huge bombastic things. You don't see our notepad. Oh, thank you, Matthias. I know what I have to do. I have to do this. Watch this. Crossfade. Oh, I'm learning OBS. Thanks for the heads up on that. So this is what you see when you see orchestration. Okay, these are the words commonly used to describe it. Okay, and they're all words that are appropriate. But just like a drum kit can be played 1,000 different ways, the orchestra can be delivered 1,000 different ways. So the first concept to think of, and this is a really important concept, that which is going to tie very much into the second concept of who you should be listening to. This is super important. The orchestra is its own instrument. The orchestra is an instrument. It is an instrument that has evolved over time, just like the harpsichord evolved into the pianoforte. Well, or whatever, and the pianoforte developed and blah, blah, blah. The orchestra is its own instrument. It is built. It is built as a structure to be its own instrument. And you need to understand that as an instrument, it can be quiet, it can be loud, it can be sweet, it can be brutal, it can be delicate and sensitive, it can be pompous and heroic. Okay? So the minute you start to think of the orchestra that way, as having a full range of emotions, okay? The minute you start to think of that, you're going to start to be able to see the possibilities of the orchestra. Okay? So before you even start writing down your orchestration stuff, think of yourself. This is an instrument. It's its own. It's just like on a piano. I could do something where I do, here's a great example. There's this piece that Schubert did. Here's an example of thinking of the piano like an instrument. A piece that Schubert did called the Earl King, the Elf King. It's got this cool, it's a piece, it's a narrative piano piece, and it's about this dad who's riding through the forest with his son in a dark, windy, winter moonlit night through the forest and the path. And the son keeps on looking up and saying, I see the Elf King and the Elf King. And the Elf King, of course, steals babies and stuff. And the father says, no, it's just the wind. No, it's just the trees. And of course, the boy's like, oh, see, the Elf King is coming closer. It's very dramatic. It's very, and it starts off, and Schubert, when he does this, he sets up this galloping motif in the piano. Right, and it's got that cool thing, right? So, which is totally cool. And if you'll notice in my little thing, I've got the pianos in octaves here, okay? Got that, and then I've got the little piano going. Okay, cool. That's using the piano in that context. A guy named Franz Liszt, who is considered one of the masters of classical piano, he does the Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. He took that and he orchestrated it out in the piano, and he added an octave. He added some chords where it was like, oh, he's actually brought it up an octave, right? So you can see, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna dig this out. And there's a reason I'm saying this. It's Earl King. List. Let's see if I actually have it. Let's see all the results. Let's see if I can actually find this. Yeah, this is the list one. Right? Very, very dramatic. And now this was a song. So this was a song. In Wald und Nacht und Wind. But he does, he takes the hand and he brings it up. And he octaves it out and stuff like that. He moves it around in various octaves, okay? So it's very dramatic. It's a great piece. It was like an 1815 piece, 1820, something like that. It was before 1829 because Schubert died in 1829 or something like that. Now, if you go back and you listen to that compared to the original Schubert, it's much heavier. Okay, so here's the Schubert one. No octaves, just because it was orchestrated it was written for the piano and the voice. Also because Liszt was a virtuoso, Schubert wasn't. You'll find out. Und Nacht und Wind, es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. Yes, that one's great, my German. But if you listen, the Liszt version is much thicker. And the reason why is, this ties in, he understood the piano as its own instrument. He put octaves in that he knew would work for the piano. He put chord structures in that would work for the piano. Okay? You have to think of the orchestra that way. You have to think of it as the orchestra behaves in a certain way. And there are not too many rules that can get you started orchestrating. There's only like 4 or 5 that I kind of use as my system. Yeah, and if nothing else, you got to hear me mangle sung German, which is always a fun time. Sung fantasy German, mangled by Farkle. There you go, Farkle Fridays. It's always live. And please chip in as I get excited. Make sure that my voice is still in good volume. I've got it adjusted, and I've got the levels pretty good. But just check. I'm kind of juggling 4 balls. I've got my desktop audio. I've got my Sonar audio. I've got my my microphone, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we get this idea. The orchestra needs to be its own instrument. Okay. So here's the second thing I'll say. Here's where I begin my contentious statements. It's a little bit of theory, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. I always get into the nitty-gritty. If you were to want to learn an instrument, and I'm going to put this over to our people over here, because many of the people that I'm friends with that are coming to these Farkle Fridays have a background in metal, and a background in rock, and a background in EDM. If you want to learn an instrument, in addition to practicing, what do you listen to? You listen to the best people and the best bands doing that instrument. So over to my chat window here, in heavy metal, who do you listen to? Like if you're like, I want to learn to play awesome heavy metal, and I know there's 1,000 subgenres. There's doom metal, there's symphonic metal, there's Celtic metal, there's prog metal, and all that stuff. But who do you listen to? Just rattle off a couple over there real fast. Who's the guy that I love who does the symphonic metal? Oh God, one of my students loves him. He's bald head. He's got that huge soaring voice. He does a huge thick wall of sound thing. I can't remember. Anyways, I'm gonna take a second here, and we're gonna do this. Yeah. So Chell starts right off with Pantera, Metallica. Boom, classic metal. And why do you listen to them? Because they're considered the best. They've got the best control of their tone. They've got the best control of song structure. Dream Theater for prog metal. Yep. Rhapsody might be a good prog metal one. If you want speed metal, maybe Michelangelo Baito, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm getting at here, okay? And Chell's right. It depends upon what you want to learn. But at the high level, what you do is you distill down and you try and find the best people at it. So here's the second most contentious statement, which is a little bit Yngwie Malmsteen. He's his own beast. Here's contentious statement number 1. Sorry, guys, and I'm going to be busting on a lot of my friends who like the epic hybrid stuff. Most epic/modern film composers, not most, that you love, and you know who I'm talking about, don't write effectively for the orchestra. I'll say it again. Most epic modern film composers do not write effectively for the orchestra. They write good music. They write good music, but they don't write effectively for the orchestra. Here's an analogy that I'll give. If I play the piano and I do things like this, way down low on the register, if I do things like this, I may write a beautiful melody on top. I may write something beautiful with a flute where it's like, a pretty little flute line, right? But because I didn't play the piano effectively, I played it down in its mud, I played down here, I did not do justice to that song. Even though on paper, you look at the chords, you look at the melody, you're like, this is a very good piece. Because I did not understand the piano as an instrument. Okay? Most modern epic film composers do not write effectively for the orchestra. This is the truth. It's not a bad thing. You should listen to those composers. They have amazing production chops. They treat the orchestra like its own sonic imprint. You should do that. But if you want to learn how to orchestrate, don't listen to them. Why would you listen to someone who doesn't use the orchestra effectively? You want to listen to the people who do use the orchestra effectively. And there are film composers and TV composers who do it. And then there are classical composers that do it. And there are jazz composers that do it. Now, contentious statement number 2. and posting and checking. I think and this is hard because what I'm basically going to say is much of the stuff of the massive Hollywood blockbusters that's being written is not being written effectively for the orchestra. It's not as effective, and it's okay. But don't listen to that and take their techniques and expect to become a master orchestrator, because you won't. You have to listen to the best. You have to listen to the best. You have to study the best. And now you get this big argument of it's all relative and what's the best, what's the best. You know the best when you hear the best. We're going to listen to the best today. You know the best when you hear the best. Everyone talks about Maestro, about Hans Zimmer and about Junkie XL and about Henry Jackman. And those guys are really humble. Like, I'm not busting on them. And they admit that what they're good at and what they're not. Hans can sculpt the sound like no one else can sculpt the sound. He's amazing. But he's not John Williams, and he admits that. He's not Jerry Goldsmith. He's not Maurice Ravel. He's not Samuel Barber. He's not Rimsky-Korsakov. He's not Wagner. He listens to that stuff. But he listens to a lot of that stuff. Okay? So let me stop for a sec before I do contention statement number 2 and just catch up on the chat window. We're still on the who are heavy metal gods. Yes, Steve Vai. Anybody who played with Frank Zappa, you should study because he's amazing. And yes, Steve Vai played with Frank Zappa. Why does the piano range that low when it's not good in that range? Chell, I'm going to repeat Chell's statement. Why does the piano range go that low when it's not good in that range? I mean that single notes as far down as C1 are fine, but below, even single notes don't sound that great. Great question. I'm going to answer that today. Okay? And Todd's already addressing it. Down low and high up chords become indistinguishable. We're going to talk about why in a sec. Now, contentious statement number 2. This certainly isn't my statement, though. This is from Rimsky-Korsakov. I'm slightly mangling the quote. And it's not because I am trying to double speak. It's because I can't quite remember the exact quote. What Rimsky says is he says this. Now, if you don't know who Rimsky-Korsakov is, he's the father of modern orchestration. Most composers will swear by, I am looking for his book. I thought I had it out here. I do. He has a lovely book called The Principles of Orchestration. It's about this big. It's for free on Northern Sounds. It's a phenomenal book. I consider it the Bible. Most people say, oh, you should get Samuel Adler. I don't agree with that. And we'll talk about why in a bit. Rimsky-Korsakov is the father of modern cinematic orchestration. Just there, everyone talks about Wagner. Wagner invented the leitmotif, and he had great orchestration skills, but not like Rimsky. Rimsky taught Stravinsky, okay? Rimsky taught a couple other people, and I believe Ravel may have studied under Rimsky as well. If you hear me batting these names about, these guys are considered the masters of orchestration, meaning, going back to point 1, treating the orchestra as its own instrument. Okay, Rimsky said this. There are 4 stages that an orchestrator goes through as they develop their craft and grow. The first stage is they fall in love with the percussion, the bombasticness of it, the huge sound of it, the boom, and you can get timpanis and it's very exciting. Okay? And I'll repeat for Matthias, why not Adler? Then they grow, and then they fall in love with the brass. They love the exciting nobility of it. They love the huge sound you can get, the noble arc of it, the impressive volume. And then the third stage of developing as an orchestra is they fall in love with the woodwinds. The agility, the color, the flightiness, the ability to have such a unique character associated with each instrument, the way a clarinet speaks versus an oboe. And then finally, they fall in love with the strings, the versatility, the backbone of the orchestra is where the strings are considered. Now, these are growth stages. These are like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like you start here. Now, here's the problem. What do most modern epic scores stop at? They stop at percussion. Oh, there's other things in there. Well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. They haven't got any woodwinds in there. But they start and they're rooted on percussion. What's the primary thing? The main thing is the percussion. I'm not saying it's bad music. I have to distinguish that. It is good music. I love it. I'm a huge fan of many of the big hybrid cues that are out there. They're fun. They're well crafted for what they are, but they are not the excellence in orchestration that if you want to become an excellent orchestrator, you need to embrace. Okay, um, and uh, and you just need to understand that. If you fall in love with percussion, you've, according to Rimsky-Korsakov, you've never gone beyond the first level. You should be able to take an emotion and drive it with just strings. And there's no better example of that than Psycho by Bernard Herrmann. Okay, and if you, let me see if I can dig it up here. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. Let me see if I can, there's no Psycho here. Ah, there we go. Listen to how this prelude, using just the strings, captures grittiness and gravity. And it's a little out of date, I get it, but just listen to how this captures it, okay? Okay, so that's an example. Now look, could you necessarily do that today? Maybe, maybe not. That's kind of got a certain sound and a certain style. But make no mistake that he was able to capture aggressiveness, intensity, uneasiness in such a way that it was interesting and emotionally gripping, and it was only a string orchestra using various techniques and things like that. So let it not be said that you can't do something amazing with strings or with woodwinds or things like that. All right, so those are my two big contentious statements, which are basically, if you want to learn to orchestrate and you want to develop it, you need to get through the stages where you understand and value, and you have to value each stage and value each family, which is going to tie into the first thing. We're going to now go into the strategy of how to orchestrate. But those are my two contentious statements. I'm going to say it before and I'll say it again. I am not critiquing the quality of the music that is being produced by these composers or for these films or for television shows. These guys have mad ears and amazing chops. They are creating hybrid structures that are a cool blend of electronics and real orchestra, and the sound design is amazing. I like to be able to speak through an orchestra, or as close to an orchestra as I can get. I just like that. I like the sound of those instruments. I like the amazing color. I think the things like Jerry Goldsmith did in The Prisoner and on Twilight Zone, where he was dealing with like 8 instruments or whatever, was amazing. So this is kind of where I go through. I'm going to check the chat window for a second, and then we're going to jump into the stages, okay, and how to orchestrate. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of stuff. Okay, I'm looking at here. Why not? Matthias had a question. Why not Adler versus Korsakov? And I'll tell you why right now, actually. I'm no orchestrator, but my love is for strings by Chell. Yes. Well, strings they're considered the backbone of the orchestra. There's a high amount of articulations. You can do pizzicato, you can do staccato, you can do tremolos, you can do solfaticello, you can do flautando. I mean, there's a lot of subtlety. And the string ostinatos, the rest is just color. The string ostinatos are a bit of a hybrid, but you're not. Matthias asked about the string ostinatos. Compare the string ostinatos of like one of these classic epic tracks with what you just heard by Bernard Herrmann. And tell me that Bernard Herrmann wasn't treating the orchestra or the strings like its own instrument. And this is going to get into idiosyncratic writing. That's something you can do in almost any instrument. Okay, that's not string-esque. That's just general instrument stuff. Why not Adler? Here's why I don't like Adler. Adler tells you instrumentation. Each chapter of Adler says, here's a flute. Here's a flute's range. Here's what a flute can do. A flute can play like this. A flute can play like this. In this range, the flute is pretty. In this range, the flute is dull, blah, blah, blah. Do you know where I learned that exact same list of things? In this book right here that cost $7. $7. The Essential Dictionary of Orchestration. Look. Let me find something here. Here's the flute. There's the range. There's the written. There's where it sounds like. Adler's big sell is that they have a CD full of isolated tracks of the instruments. Okay? So you have a CD, so if you want to listen to the winds, you can go, here's the flute. Well, nowadays, you know what you can do? You can load up your East-West library, and you can play it, and you can get pretty darn close. Is it worth $90? I don't think so. What Rimsky-Korsakov's book talks about is how the families of instruments play together. What does it mean when you have the cellos doubling the French horns? What does it mean when the trumpets are in triads? How do you orchestrate around that? How do you treat the orchestra like an instrument? Adler never really talks about that. He talks about each family. Okay? So now let's get into the first rules that we're going to deal with. Okay? I'm going to pop this up a little bit. Before I jump in, are there any questions or are there any hot potato spots for my aggressive statement here? I'm looking at this thing here. All right, I'm going to jump back in here. Now, let's start with the rules of good orchestration. What I mean by this is what strategies can... So now we understand that we want to treat the orchestra like an instrument. Well, how do we do that? Well, the first thing we need to understand is that the orchestra is broken up, like any good unit, is broken up into families. Okay? And each family is broken up into ranges. And give me a sec here. I'm going to get my little chart. You guys would be so jealous. I feel so bad for film score analysis. He took my orchestration class, and now I'm giving this stuff away for free. Free. I ran an orchestration class, and you guys get it all for free. All right, hold on a sec here. Let me find... Oh, it might be in... Give me a sec. It might be in Google Drive. I apologize. I didn't look for this particular thing. I know I have one, but if not, I'll just rebuild it really quickly. There we go. Okay. When you hear a choir singing, a typical family, and when I say family, what I mean is unit of instruments that have similar color and cover a range similar to the piano. Not one instrument, but when you stack the instruments up, you can get a range that covers similar to the piano. That's what I'm calling a typical family of instruments. Okay? There's 4 families that are in the orchestration world. Okay, let me just check and make sure I'm getting... real fast. I taught at University of the Arts. I taught a class on orchestration and MIDI orchestration. And film score analysis just popped in to learn some stuff. And he already knows a lot about orchestration. He knows, I think, probably more than I do. You should study with him. But he picked up a couple of tricks from me. A couple of strategies. All right. I'm going real basic here, okay? A family of instruments is unified by a similar color and a range that extends to most of the piano, okay? An orchestra has typically 4 families. And when I say them, you're going to totally get it. And I'm going to go from top to bottom of an orchestral page. Winds, all right? Brass, percussion, strings. No problem, makes sense, right? You're like, oh, okay, brass. Tuba trombones, French horns, trumpets. Tuba trombones down here, French horns here, trumpets up here, piccolo trumpet, up to about there. Cool, I've got most of a piano covered there. You all can see my piano right there, right? I'm sure you can. Winds, contrabassoon, down to here, I think down to there. I have to check the ranges. I write for contrabassoon, but I just check the ranges when I do that. All the way up through the bass clarinet, bassoon, clarinet, oboe, flute, piccolo, great. Winds carry the entire range of the piano. You guys see where I'm getting with this. Double bass, cello, viola, violins 1, 2, violins 1, up to about here. Makes sense, right? In each of these families, there is a soprano roll, an alto roll, a tenor roll, and a bass roll. The human ear does very well with 4 parts. They actually do very well with 5 parts nowadays because of jazz. But 4 parts, a bass and 3 notes. Well, a bass and 3 notes is your classic film score voicing. It's triadic, right? So there's all this. The orchestra, again, the orchestra evolved as an instrument because of the way we like to hear harmony. We like to hear harmony as a bass and 3 notes. Sometimes a bass and 4 notes. Okay? Does that make sense? It's simple, but again, so much of the beginning of orchestration is simple. Okay? We like to hear things as a bass and 3 notes. Sometimes bass and 4 notes. Jazz. I'm saying jazz because, you know. Okay, that's jazz. I'm just doing some simple jazz harmonies, okay? Okay, great. So what does that mean? Well, since each family has 4 rolls, this is a very good thing for you to see. That is not that. That describes, if you're writing for each family, where you put each instrument. All right? So let me jump back over to here. What I mean is this. Let's look at this here. Let's start with the violin. Let's start with the strings. I'll move to the brass because I'll kind of talk about what I mean here. All right, I'm gonna go back to to my strings here. You're doing some string stuff. And you're writing in this register. Sopranos, and when I say soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, it's similar to what a voice is. I'm a tenor. So my low note, is about there. My high note, is right there. That's my high note. That's real similar to what a French horn is playing. That's real similar to what a French horn is. It's real similar to what cellos can do. Most cellos get a little bit higher, but when you get higher than that, you start to get a little pinched. You're not like if I go, oh, I'm pinched. I'm not really selling my voice. I'm not in where my voice is designed to play. So, if you're playing a bunch of chords like this, you can tell that's down in the tenor range if you can sing along with it. You can kind of tell up here. That's soprano. No man sings up there. Not every woman sings up there. So that should inform you. If I'm up here, I should be thinking violins. Look, soprano, violins 1 and 2. There, violins 1 and 2. Okay? If I'm down here, that's alto and tenor. That should be violas and cellos. And what a lot of inexperienced orchestrators will do is they'll forget about that and they'll play the violins down here. And they're like, why does it sound so bad? Well, because the violin is scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's having so much trouble getting down there. Don't. Write for the range. Now, we'll go to the second one that's going to really irritate y'all. Let me find my I got to dig out my other patch. Templates, brass, ensemble. I'm grabbing Symphobia for this just because why not? Okay, what's up here in the soprano? Trumpet. Okay, that's soprano. But look what Symphobia did. This is really because everyone wants the epic horns. What they do? That's a French horn up there. The French horn is an alto instrument. It does really well in this range. okay? But nobody writes that anymore. They all want the French horns up here. It sounds horrible up there because it's not designed to play up there. When you do that, switch the French horn out and put the trumpet in. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to start having more color in your orchestrations because you're writing for the range that it should be written at. So if there's nothing else you take away from this entire thing, it's this. Don't write for French horn up in the soprano range. Swap it out for the trumpet. How many times have I heard this? That's horrible. I don't know why I'm getting this weird slappy echo thing. Whatever. That's not good writing. Swap it out for. I'll grab the. What am I going to grab? Oh, I'll grab my trumpet patch. Okay. If you're doing that, here, grab this trumpet patch instead. We're gonna have to move over to my template pretty soon. That sounds so great. That sounds totally right in its sweet spot. Okay? So the very first thing you should do is you think about the ranges. And everybody take a screenshot of this. Or just go back and look at it again. Just type it out yourself. I'm not going to share it. You guys can just, All right? Now, so the very first thing is when you're playing on the piano and you're thinking of the range, this is going to talk into Chel's thing about, I've been thinking you play chords in the left hand and melody in the right hand. It's not always true, but it's okay. Write for the range that you're in. If you are in the middle of the range, in the if you're right around here, the flute can work there. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna close this out, and all right, everybody. I haven't done this yet. I think this is gonna work. I'm gonna boot up my template. All right. If this stream pops out, I'll have to restart it. See what happens here. Should be good. Okay. Sonar Platinum. Mock-up version 2.4. It's still a work in progress. Okay. Let me answer some questions while it's booting up. It's going to take a couple of minutes. Somebody was all excited. Like, I want to see Farkle's template. I'm like, well, here it is. Warts and all. Here's the template. Let me check and make sure I'm still streaming okay. I've still got mic power. That's good. Everyone, I'm still getting audio, right? Okay. And let me answer Chel's questions. I've been thinking you play chords with the left hand and melody with the right. Yeah, you can, and it's totally fine. That's a perfectly acceptable way to write music. Okay. You can play around with it a little bit. And we're gonna mess around with that a little bit. But what the important thing is wherever the main thing is, which is the melody, you want to make sure that that's in the right instrument. So if the melody's down here, down below middle C, kind of pop this little cue I was practicing. It didn't go as well as I thought it would. Okay, spectrum chart. Okay, great. You can still hear me. I'm checking my OBS. I've still got this. Okay. Let me play this piano real fast. And can you guys hear this? Whoops. This might be a little bit quiet. Yeah, you guys can hear that? Give me a sec. I'm going to boost the gain on this. How's that quality, everybody? Is that decent? Okay. All right. So let's get back to what I'm doing here. Oh, here's the problem that I have. I knew it. You're going to lose my keyboard. That's the only problem you're going to get from me is you're going to lose. Whoa. Just move that around a little bit. There we go. Can You guys see okay? Can you see me? Because I'm the most important thing. You're going to lose the keyboard. Sorry, guys, you have to use your ears. I'm going to explain as best as possible. This is the only downside. I can't do the piano, keyboard, and the thing. Okay? All right. Let's start to play with this little thing I was talking about, okay? So we're in the winds, okay? I've got an alto line. Alto line is kind of a little below middle C to a little above middle C, okay? Or to a little above high C. Now, I'm down here. Here's an example of writing for the instrument. Let's say my piano line is obvious. Let's say my piano line is this. Okay, just some little thing, right? And I'm like, I really want that in the winds. Well, okay, I'll grab the flute. I'll grab my warm kind flute. No, I'm gonna do my dark mysterious flute. No, I'm gonna do my warm kind one. It's a solo. And do this. You know what? I don't want to do that. I want to do this one. This one's better. Well, it's kind of hard to hear, right? It's not really sitting because it's a soprano instrument. I'm putting it at a lower level. But what if I do it in an oboe? That sits a lot better because the oboe is an alto instrument. Okay, it's not quite a perfect example, but there's a reason the oboes are underneath the flutes in the orchestral. And of course, if I did it with a clarinet, it's going to really be great. Right? There it is. That's simple. So the very first thing you can do, the first rule you can do with an orchestrator is you can play off the piano sketch, map the instrument to the range. SATB. Okay? All right. So that's that. It's super easy. Okay? And if you do that, and look, I had that thing out there, I'll bring it back. But if you have that thing out there, that's going to help you out immensely with it because you'll know what's supposed to be in each range. Okay. Now here's the second part. This is obvious, this thing. Going back to your thing about, well, wait, I understand the piano. Why would the piano go that low? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I talked about this very briefly in a very early video, but here's the piano. Okay, cool. The notes all sound good on the piano, but you have to know how to vertically stack them. And this is the other thing. Orchestras are about vertical resonance. When you are below middle C, you oftentimes want to voice chords in open position. Okay, and I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, there's my piano. By the way, you'll notice I'm not using a whole lot of anything special. It's the grandeur, it's Alicia's keys. Okay. Here's middle C. Can you all see it down here? Middle C right here. If I'm down below middle C, these chords get muddy. That's not to say the chords are bad or the piano is bad, but that the way the overtone series works is when you get down here, you want to open a chord up. Opening a chord up is very easy. Watch. If I play a triad and it's too muddy, there's a C major triad. Sounds pretty good here. Sounds great here. Sounds good here. Starting to get a little bit plinky. That's just like an effect. I'm down here. This is the simplest thing you can do if you can learn anything else from this. Okay. Close position chords means the whole chord fits within an octave. Look, here's a C, here's a C, here's a C. That chord is within an octave. If I take this note and I pop it up an octave, it's an open chord. That's all it means. Okay? Don't play close position within an octave chords too deep in the piano. This will tie with orchestration in a second. If my piano chord is too beefy and gross down low, take the middle note, whatever the middle note is, pop it up an octave. Totally opens it up, makes it beautiful. See, look, that F is too beefy. Take the A, bring it up an octave. Second inversion chord. Too beefy, too weird. Take the B, bring it up an octave. See? Sounds pretty cool, right? Now, do that in the orchestra with, where's my, I have a good sus going on here. Oh, here it is. Take that same thing I did. It's a little clunky, a little crusty. Take that B, move it up an octave. See how great that sounds? Okay. Here's my D triad. Here's my D chord in close position. See, there's the F sharp. There's the A, there's the D. It's too gritty. Take this A, pop it up an octave. Okay? So, the second rule is watch the range, don't play close position chords too deep on the piano. If the chord is muddy, take the middle note of the chord and pop it up an octave. This talks into the principle of range. And now you're going to get the second thing from me. Here's a second little cheat sheet you're going to get from me that you're going to love. I hope you're going to love it. Everybody get ready to take your little snapshot of this, okay? Mini orchestration. Fundamentals of... This is a page. Can you guys all see it? There you go. This right here is a great rule of thumb for how you want to voice chords. Okay. Now look, here's the last thing I'm going to say. Here's the last contentious statement. You want to learn how to be a good orchestrator? You want to learn how to be really, really good? Learn to read music. Not fast, but you better learn how to read it. Because you need to see what the great people did. You can't just do it when you hear it. I'm going to play some pieces. We're going to have some fun little listening session. There's no way you can actually figure out what Ravel did by transcribing. Well, Mike Verda says you can, and to an extent you can, but you need to have a good ear. I mean, like I have a very good ear, and I have a lot of trouble with that. So you need to understand ranges. Here's middle C. Middle C is this line right here. That little line below the note. Okay? You go an octave lower, there's low C. This low C here to this low C here is the bass range. I'm not going to get into a big thing, but according to orchestration, many orchestrators, great ones including Rimsky-Korsakov, you only want to put the root of the chord here and the fifth. It's about the overtone series, okay? Notice, Xavier, as you said a great point, said if it's really low, only stack octaves. This octave below this is a bass extension. It's used to double this bass octave a root lower. So if you want to sound like this, actually, you know what? Hold on, I'll do it. Gosh, I have so much stuff open. We'll do a class example. Here's my cello stack. Okay, cool. I am down in this bass range here. If I want this to sound bigger, I'm going to grab my double basses, which are an octave lower, start to see where there's a reason, and they're going to double the cellos. So here. Okay? Now double it with the basses. Okay, here it is with just the cellos. Now I'm doubling the exact same notes an octave below. There. Pretty cool, right? This is your fundamentals of range. You want your bass range, your roots and your fifths here. You want your thirds and your sevenths and your sixths here. You want your triadic harmony in close voicing here. And then your high harmony there. And then you can double the melody an octave higher in this. This is the reverse of down here. Notice it's a palindrome. So if I have the flute up here, I can double it with the piccolo up here. And for that, what you might get is something like this. All right, now, these are the kind of two fundamentals I want to talk about here. So look, here's my flute, sounding all pretty. I'll do my warm kind flute. Okay, now I'm just going to double with the piccolo. Where is my, this is an octave above. Does that make sense? Super, super easy, right? Do the same thing with the violins. Let me check and see if I have the octave shift on my violin. Give me a sec here. I don't have the effects on that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll add it right now. I'm going to add a MIDI transpose. It's a little cheat that I do if I need to. No, not interval. So now if I'm playing my violins here, all right, I'm now going to stack it with, oops, why are you not showing up? Ah. So here I am with my low violins. There's your soaring sound, right? There's your soaring sound. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the idea of using the range of the piano. I don't need you anymore. And creating resonance through the range, not through doubling, which is going to tie into the last thing I want to talk about. Then we're going to take a break and listen to some great stuff. The orchestra sounds big, not because you double a single note, but because you reinforce the note in octaves or the chord in octaves. Okay, that is how the orchestra sounds good. Oh yeah, the transposing. It's a cheat I learned from a MIDI mockup guide. It's like if you have to lay down an octave really fast, you know. Okay, I'm gonna put this away in a sec, which everyone sees. I want you to take a snapshot of this, and I want you to look. Here's an example. Here's an example of good range implementation. The bass register. There's the root and the fifth. That's a D and that's an A, right? That's a cello. Now, if this were strings, it'd be a cello and a viola. You can't do the viola's too low. It'd be cellos divisi. Why? Because you know the range of the instrument, you know, and so this note down here is the bass doubling in an octave lower. There's this F sharp would have been down here in the triad, but it's too muddy, so I popped it up an octave, just like I said, right? That's the bass harmony range. There's the thirds. I get to this middle range right here. I got a triad. These are the violas and the violins. Okay, the violas are divisi. Divisi meaning divided. That's all it means. It means, look, I have too many notes, cut the violas in half. Half of them go down to this F sharp, half of them go to the D. Okay, and then here's the melody in this range. And this is not the melody, this little high one. This is a reinforced octave. That's a big sound. It's not a loud sound, it's big. That's the difference between loud and big. Loud is this. is loud. Ready? Now I'm gonna do loud. This is loud. Every single instrument on one note. That's loud. Here we go. That's loud. That's everything on one instrument. But you know what's big? This is big. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to pound it a little bit, but this is big. Can you guys hear me now? Darn it. Yeah. Okay, mic's off. I know why. Okay, mic's back. Yep, I know exactly what I did was wrong. I want the metronome off. Good, I got it off. Okay, good. Here we go. Yeah, the F3 button that turns off my mic also turns off the click. So that was a mistake. Whoopsie, sorry. That's my little mess up there. 30 seconds of just dead silence. This is big. Notice I did big, and I did big by doing, by stacking the octaves. So the trombones were in their thing. The French horns were in their thing. And the trumpets were in their thing. And now when you hear it, how it's big because I'm vertically big, okay? That is the single most important thing you can learn about orchestration. Don't orchestrate by stacking instruments at the one note, okay? That's how you get big. You spread the chords out through, you spread the chords out through it. All right, let me stop. This is some theory. We're gonna get a little more granular now about this, but because what everyone wants to do is, all right, everyone's like, I get it. How do I write with it? Okay. I'm gonna throw this out to the group. So the two things that I covered today that are really important are, one is understand, write for when you're doing your piano sketch, write for the family of instruments that you're in that range for. If you're in this certain range on the piano, you write for this instrument, for this one and this one. How do you know which one to write? Well, that's your composer. I want this to be woodwinds. Well, down here it's a clarinet. Awesome, I'm writing for clarinet. I want this to be brass. Well, up here it's a trumpet. Awesome, I'm writing for trumpet. Start there, okay? Now, we're gonna get into the next part about it. The next thing was the range, okay, which is observe the range. Everyone should have taken a screenshot of that. If not, when I'm all done, just go back and watch it. It's there. I left it up there for like 5 minutes. And write your parts for that range. Now, there's two things left I want to do for Farkle Friday today. Put on your radar some great music to listen to, and walk through a quick piano sketch that will like burn into an orchestral sketch. Which one do you guys want to do first? Do you guys want to take 10 minutes to listen to a couple of cool pieces to get excited for it, or do you want to just jump in and have me just do a piano sketch into an orchestration, like 8 bars or something? You guys chat amongst yourselves whilst I pour another beverage. So much beverage. And by the way, also weigh in. Have I been thwacking my mic, or have I been pretty good about this? So you got some theory, which is great, but I really want to get into the actual craft of taking a piece that we did and orchestrating it out. Okay. Let's do the piano sketch. Todd's voting for a piano sketch. Okay. Anybody else? Sketch. I got 2 votes for sketch. I've got about another minute or so, and then we're going to jump in. All right. You know what? We'll do sketch, and then with the last little bit, we'll listen to a couple of things that are pretty cool. All right. So let's crowdsource this. Sketch. Well, I'm going to start with the piano sketch. And what should I sketch? Give me some suggestions. No flack. Because this, I think, was important for Xavier. He's like, I get it. I have this piano. How do I break it out? How do I do my thing? Okay, cool. Let's do some emotions. What some scenes, some emotions. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do mysterious. We're gonna do joyful. We're gonna do. I'll probably do a theme because themes are kind of fun. You know, I mean, like you can do like action. I don't want to do an action cue today. I don't have it in me to do like the John Williams-y, you know, like that's gonna be just so. That's gonna be so epic trailer track. No, not an epic trailer track. We're going to avoid percussion. It's the first family of instruments. Do something heroic. All right, something heroic. Something heroic. Fine. Whoops. Let's do a quick little. Let me walk my walk from last week. I've got Sage right here. Oh yeah. There, I just did it. That's actually something that Jeremy Stoll would do. He would do something like that, okay? Why not, or evil ominous? I'm gonna quickly lay that down. I might have time to do both. Oh. Then dun, 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 dun. We go. There's the B section right there. Okay, good. That's good enough for now. I just automatically saved this project. Why not? Because, you know. All right, so that's an idea, right? Here's what it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Oh God, I'm just this workout today was really tough. This has hit me, not hit me. It's hit me more than it usually is. It was all right. I'm nowhere near ready for a Farkle rant yet. So let's go back, and this is going to tie in the last thing we're going to talk about, which is the main thing and the other thing. We've been talking about this a long time. The main thing is the most important thing in the piece of music that you're writing at that moment in time. The main thing is the most important thing you're writing. The most important thing in your piece at that moment in time. It is usually the melody. It might be something else. It might be the ostinato. It's more often than not the melody. The main thing must be expressed as clearly as possible. It must be put in an instrument that is in its sweet register. If you choose to not put it in a sweet register, like a low flute, you must then orchestrate everything else to get, well, actually, I'll even say, you put it in a sweet register or not sweet register. You orchestrate everything else out of the way. And here's what I mean by this. So, Xavier, I'm going to answer that question. Here's my piano. Okay, here's my sketch. Let's say I had the main thing here. Okay, look, I'm kind of right around this soprano range. All right. Strings, flute, trumpet. I would not take my chords and go like this. I would not put my chords here in the strings. You see, like I'm like slamming into it. I would take my chords and put them an octave away. Oh, wait. You see how I'm out of the way? And because I put those chords out of the way, that informs you as to what I'm going to use. Well, that's bass, cellos, violas, and low violins. Okay, great. Now I know. The work's been done for me. Now, what if, now, Davies, let's go back to variations. I'm not picking on Davies, but he's been asking about this a long time. Let's say I did it down here. Okay, cool. I'm going to do this actually. This is the main thing. Everything else has to get out of the way of it. Register, it has to clear register. So look, I'm not going to go like this. I'm not going to take the chords and go like this. See, it's all butting in against it. But maybe I take the strings and go like this. Right? Maybe the strings are like, you see what I'm doing there? I got out of the way, and now so now the triads are up here. See how like I put the triads up top. And you were asking, you're like, well, do you always have to do the triads in the left hand? No. If the main thing, wherever register the main thing is, the main thing can be down here. The main thing can be here. Right? And then what happens? Whatever that thing is. Yeah. You notice what happened here. Here's the Jaws theme down. The main thing of the Jaws theme is way down here. So John Williams takes his harmony, the other thing, which is the second most important thing, and puts it an octave away. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I was asking for piano, but that's the thing. If you write it that way for piano, it will translate to the orchestra very, very well. Does that make sense? I'm trying to basically say, in the simplest possible way, wherever you're hearing the main thing, I want this low gravelly thing. Right? And then, no, wait, what do I want this for? I want this. I get everything else out of the way. Registrally. Meaning this way. I put the high notes. If the main thing's down low, I put it up higher in the middle. If the main thing's in the middle, I get around it. So let's orchestrate this out a couple different ways. All right, cool. You know what? I'm gonna do Socratic wise. What register am I in? I'm in alto to soprano. This is heroic. What color, out of the four families, what color is the best color for this? You answer. I already know the answer. I already went to school. I'm a teacher. I don't need to respond. I'm moving towards it. I gotta wait for like the 15-second lag for it to come in. Come on, no one's gonna answer this? All right, I like that, French horn. Let's play it and see how it sounds. You're getting a peek into how I do my my thing, which is stacking. Here we go. Now here's the horn. Whoa, those horn players are fucked. Can you hear how grindy that is? Why? Too high for the horn. It's in the soprano register. Now, before this class, you would have been like, whatever, what an epic. Now you'd be like, no, that's not a soprano instrument. This is a soprano instrument. And you know what? I'm going to do 3 trumpets, because why not, man? Let's Indiana Jones this bad boy. Great. Perfect. Forget it. I'm just doing the first part. What's That's really high for a trumpet. I'll just do the first part. Xavier just gave a great comment. He goes, "Oh, I thought you were thinking about the color, so you transpose it." Bingo. That's why you orchestrate and why you modulate to different keys. Because let's say you were like, you know what? I love that theme, but that is too high for the French horn. I'm going to take it down a fourth. Great. Let's do it right now, just to hear it. And actually, I'm gonna do it formally in a second. But and I'm using my big stacks here. I'm using my big epic stacks, so that's fine. All right. That's about the highest the French horn would go for me. But what I did was I dropped it down a fourth. I transposed it to make it fit the instrument. Okay. Heck, let's take it down another third. Yeah, Matthias. There's 30 horns playing, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. The ear. It doesn't matter for the ear. It doesn't matter for this kind of stuff. It's about layering for character. This is something that all the best MIDI mockups have been doing, including Thomas Bergerson, since 2007. Like, and we'll do a class about this at some point. But that whole I used to buy into that, and it was so dumb because I didn't do it for the longest time. I didn't believe it, and then I started believing it when all the new libraries came out, and I was like, well, they must know more. When I was writing for the Wonder Pets, I was doing this. I was stacking stuff for color, stacking stuff for space and for bigness, and I'm like, look, it's not about whether it sounds like realistic horns, because it doesn't. It's about, does it give the feeling and give the vibe, you know. That totally gives the vibe. And then when all these libraries came out, and it was all about, we should just use the library by itself and blah, 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 and my mockup started sucking. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not doing it well. And then I was like, no, you know what? This concept of layering, like the best mockup guys in the world do it. TJ does, Sharmy does. So I'm like, I just got back into it, and I've been just so much happier. So, all right. So we're going to straighten this out. Here's the main thing. In the key that I wrote it in, Xavier has brought up a great point, which is, when you develop a theme, you're going to need to modulate it in different keys. When you modulate it in different keys, you will put it in a different instrument, and that counts as development. And that's how the Star Wars theme is so good, right? Like, you know, when you do it here, you do a Star Wars theme. That's a fantastic thing, right? Then when you modulate it and you put it in a different key, and you're like, well, you know what really makes it sound good is the cellos, and so I'm going to do it with the cellos, and then you do it down here, and then all of a sudden you get this. Right? Now, let's talk about doubling, which is Rimsky-Korsakov's thing. I would double it in octaves. So let's do it in octaves. Let's make it big. Now, here's the other thing. You got to look at the sheet music. If you're starting to double things in octaves and in triads, this ties in with Alan Mayran's thing about orchestrating the line. You're starting to thicken stuff with triads and chords. That means that you have less room for the harmony and the other thing to happen, which is fine. Don't fight it. Like, let's say Xavier is like, wait, would you ever double that with octaves? Sure, man. Let's double in octaves right now. Actually, the French horns are phenomenal down their tenor register. Nobody does it anymore in there. They're always like, well, I want an epic and high. I'm like, dude, put in the trumpets. Listen how awesome this is going to sound. It's going to sound amazing. Let me just quickly listen to this. All right. We just man, this is gonna take 2 classes. Okay. French horns are too loud. Motherfucker. Hold on, it's saving. My French horns are too loud. Oh God, balancing an orchestra is such a pain in the butt. Everything's always too loud. Hear my French horns. You're too loud. There you go. All right, that's good enough for now. Just a welcome to the micromanaging of a template. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. So and that's orchestrating the line. Alan Mayran talks about that. For example, you could. I'm gonna fake it right now with a patch. You could take your main thing and harmonize it. That's cool. That's cool. You could do that. Right? So watch, I'm going in and out of a solo line. See what I'm saying? Now I'm faking it right here. I'd have to play it in, you know. Do you see what I did there, Xavier? I took the main thing and I thickened it here and there. That's a whole other concept. And actually, funny enough, that's in Orchestrating the Line, but it's also in EIS Book 3, which is harmony in thirds and harmony in fourths, which is, you know, the same concept. But here's the thing. The thicker you make the main thing, the more space it occupies, the less you have room to do anything else, and that's okay. What if you did a line that was, okay, watch, you know, now we're going to mess with this. Here's the main thing. All right. Let's say I'm digging this and I'm just like, I just want this thing in a monstrous unison, right? I'm just talking about octaves, right? I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do the classic Goldsmith thing. I'm just gonna park those violins up there. I'm grabbing my staccatos. Oh man, I've got so many of these things to make it work. I gotta add another thing for that. Wait, why are you there? I deleted you. Speaking of which, there's Score Club. He's been informed me of the. Okay. Cool. What I do there, right? See, I doubled that an octave above the trumpets. I'm just stacking now. So obvious your point. Can you do this? Sure. But look, the more I do this, the less I have room to do anything else. And that's okay. Just making a decision as an orchestrator. Why should the strings have all the fun? Let's add the winds. I'm gonna start dinner prep. let's do that octave thing I was talking about. Let's do my warm kind flute legato, and I need my piccolo runs, and I need my flute runs. Let's try. Yeah, there's going to be clicking, and you know why? Because I'm running this thing at 96 samples, and I've got 100,000s of voices. You're going to get some clicking. It's going to be what it is. I can't really redo I do not want to risk redoing the audio samples to 256, and I can blow this whole thing out. So it's going to be some clicking. Sorry. Is there anything that I can do on the? I don't think I have like ozone running, so it's like, oh man, I didn't do my gain boost there. All right, that's cool. Oh, right, because I know why. Because I bounced an earlier cue and I didn't want to have that available. Okay. Okay. Hear how big it's starting to sound? Now, if you really want to do it, there's a rule called the rule of three, which we're not going to get to in this lesson. Gee, the orchestration is going to be multiple. If you thought this was going to be easy, you lied. Who recorded the orchestra with the cellos that high? There. Now look at that. That's the main thing. Just stacked up the wazoo. One more time. It's actually pretty good because my tempo's pretty balanced. Not a lot of room for anything else. Not a lot of room for anything else there because I've made the main thing so big. But that's not what we're doing today. So take this. Oops. Copy that. Let's do this again. All right. All right. Did that answer some of Chel's questions, some of his random things? Now let's orchestrate this out. Let's go back to what I did. Let's orchestrate it out. Okay, that sound. By the way, we'll get into a thing about sample libraries. If you listen very closely, you'll hear that one of the Cinda samples actually has a fifth struck by accident. Hear that? Boom. The cello player actually got the fifth, and they kept it in there. It's so annoying. Such poor quality control. Sorry, Mike and Mike. I mean, I love your libraries and I have them all. I've given you a couple of $1,000, so don't get mad at me. But dude, come on, man, fix that shit. Okay. The main thing's all the way up here, up in the treble. I'm gonna get out of the way. My bass register is this. My bass register is this on the strings. I'm gonna double it. Okay? Here. Get over here. Oops, I accidentally didn't record the basses, so I just have to drag that down to there. There we go. Great. Hey, you know what works really well with the trumpet when I do that? Is a flute. Get out of there, piccolo. Matthias, I'm going to answer that question in just a sec. That's a great question. And there's no right or wrong. Well, there's principles, and these principles help guide it. That's a pretty good color. I'll take that. Hear that? Hear the flute to this thing? I'm not going to go too far with this orchestration because I want to show Xavier's another variation of this. But look, what I did was I just took my piano and blew it out. Okay, and I used the principle of range that I showed you to start getting some octave doublings. Okay, what's missing? I've got this thing going on. Okay, I can't do that. And I got to fill out the harmony. And I'm doing the open thing. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to add everything else. Okay. And that's it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh yeah, Jeremy Soule would do it this way. He would get rid of the third. That's just knowing. Okay, try to do that once just to get the feel for it. That's pretty good. It's a lot drier than Jeremy Soule. Jeremy drenches his stuff in reverb. Not that it's bad. I don't want to do that. And I'm going to do one more thing. And this is now we're into the realm of accenting stuff. When you have one instrument playing the main thing, it's good to have one instrument playing the other thing. When you have two instruments playing the main thing, it's good to have two instruments. But trombones, I want to do these two. This is a nice combo. Yep. That'll be good. All right, get out of here. There we go. Now I'm just going to accent. Ah, come on. Actually play on the beat, you idiot. You idiot. Jingle I play. That last velocity was too loud. Let me bring that down a sec. The wonderful world of editing. Oh yeah, it's too loud. They're all too loud. I got too excited. I'm 43. I should know how to control myself. Oh, well, there you go. Just got my cue approved, so that's always good. That's going to pay for this new keyboard, Chillbot. See how easy that is? Boom. Very, very little. Oh, and by the way, now let's add the percussion. But you know what? Since we waited for the percussion till the end, guess what? We don't need to add a whole lot. You know what I'm going to add? Boom. Why was not? Okay. Got it. Wait. Oh, right, I mapped it that way. Okay, I remapped Cinebrass because it was Cineper because I didn't like it. That's stupid. That's all I need. That's all you need. Can I see the piano roll for their accents? Yes. You want the trombone accents? Is that what you want, Xavier? Do you want the trombone? Do you want the trombone? Wait. There's one more thing I got to do because it's a Jeremy Soule thing. Hold on. I got to find it. You know you want to hear this. Yep, that's Jeremy Soule, baby. Gotta have that cymbal wash. That's such a Jeremy Soule thing. There's nothing bad with that. He's got it. That's his thing. Oh, and I'm gonna flesh out one more time. I'm not gonna do exactly what Jeremy Soule would do, but give me a sec. That sounds like shit. I'm not gonna use that. Do that. That's what I'm gonna do. Now that's everything else. What I'm doing now is I'm getting out of the way of everything else. The violins are now playing outside. My favorite hook. I got that from Robin Hood. Do you hear how the strings have a chugginess to them, but they're not blocking the trumpet because the trumpet was here? And my strings are. The strings are mostly out of the way. Okay, I would write it down in the score if I was doing this a little bit. It's, you know what? It's not the CPU. I've got this weird interrupt thing. I've got a junky graphics card, and it's doing all these interrupt requests, and it's annoying the bejesus out of me. But I am also abusing the CPU. I'm putting a lot of voices in here. If I have to redo this, the next computer that I get, JDog is like, oh, you don't need it. I'm like, I don't know, I kind of do. I need something with like a little bit more power that I can handle like 96 hertz, But it's actually great at 256. It actually works great. But I like to play it at like 96. I need that kind of. Okay, so Xavier is here. Here's the trombones. Why don't you watch it as I do this? Okay, here we go. This is what you want, right, buddy? I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller too. Okay, so listen to where it hits compared to. Also, look at my velocity. It's actually not that loud. See? It's like I'm like at 70 to 90. I actually should be a little bit quieter. But the stack makes it sound fuller. That's why you stack. Maybe next time I do this, I will set it to 256 and clear up all that stuff. No. I'm not doing that whole VEP thing. I don't need that stuff, I just need a SETI computer or a NASA computer. I am not dealing with routing my stuff in and out of VEP. I've customized all my patches. They're all routed correctly. And the only reason this is, I know why this is doing it. Because I've got Discord still running. Hold on a sec. Oh, yeah, and I got spotted. I just have a lot of processes running. Get out of here, Discord. Sorry, buddy. Discord's out. Yeah, exactly, Xavier. So this goes into the realm of true orchestration. Okay. Now let's do this. Okay. Let's do this. Let's have one more fun with this. Okay. Let's say we took this theme. Now, at some point, two of my former students may come barging into this room and yell at me for not being ready to party. And when that happens, Farkle Friday's wrapping up because I haven't seen them in 3 months, and they're big video game composers. And one of them worked on one of the Pokemon titles or something. I don't know. He did some Pokemon stuff, and they're all excited. And so we're gonna, beverage it up. All right. Let's now take this. Let's do this. This is the Xavier show. What if this were in the cellos? What if the main thing were in the cellos? Just changing register. Okay, get this out of here. Yeah, no, this template, I love it. I love it. I love the playability of it. I love the sound of it. It's just great. Why don't I play the right notes, Mike? Because I'm on drink 2. Great. Okay. Well, what I had before was I had this thing. Now here's where orchestration comes in. Okay, the main thing is down there. Okay. Well, what I did before was something where it was like, right? That's a thing, right? But now the main thing is down here. All right, well, guess what? I'm gonna have to move everything else up there. You know what I could do? I could do this. I could do violins up here being all pretty. Get the effect. That could be kind of cool. There's variation on the theme right there. What happened with that? It's a lousy voicing. Change the voicing a little bit. Well, it sounds a little funky. I think I was pretty close. That sounds pretty cool. That worked. Why did it work? Because in orchestration, I got out of the way of the main thing. Simple stuff. All right? But you know what I really want to do? I really want to do this. This is going to sound great. How do you know what color to use? I don't know. Just play around with it. Once you know the register, then just spend 5 minutes and try different colors. Be like, I don't know. I'm going to try. Oh, how cool is this going to sound? Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, Jell, because the violins are higher register. So I took the flutes. The flutes are a little bit more passive, right? What a lousy performance that was. Why did it sound so bad? It sounded good when I played it in. Try that again. Yeah, that's good. I don't know, just the timing was off. And I'm really good at timing. Oh, it's Cinna wins. Right, right, right. Okay. Now let's have some more fun with this. I'm going to do a Junkie XL thing, kind of. What? Why is that? Why do I have two of those? Hold on a sec. Give me a sec to see what's going on here with this. Did I add sonic implants? Why did I do that? All right, fine. I guess I did. Whatever. That's kind of dumb of me, but whatever. Yeah, the color. The stacking with thirds and fourths always go down to lock onto the high melody. Not sure I remember that, Matthias. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying I don't remember that off the top of my head. Whatever. I do substitute voice leading. Whatever. Why am I getting this like? Maybe I don't need this staccato. Give me just one sec. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna do a counter line in the violas. Yeah, this is a Jeremy Soul thing too. A little too busy. I'd have to write this out. That's got something to it. That's enough that I could take it and run with it. Actually, you know what? That shouldn't be in the violas. That should be in the violins. With the register. That's totally where the violins would shine. I'm gonna redo that in the violins. It'll sound better. Violas are. People think of the violas as having the same characteristics. They're not. They're like an engine of the string. They do the dun 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 dun. They do that kind of stuff. Let me just do the espressivo with a little staccato. Let's see where that goes. Yeah, that's pretty good. I need a little more something in there. That's something. And if you really want to have fun, you have the piccolo double right, just in those little hits. Watch, just an accent. It's very. Don't the violins. Too much stuff going on there. So it's just a shitty line. Oh, I know what I need to do. Dun, 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 ba, da, da, da. You need to do call and response. I need to find where the holes are. Dun, dun. That's what I need to do. And that's why I need to write this out. Dun. Yeah, that's what Jeremy would do. See how like I waited for the violin to just kind of like that's now more composition, but I waited for the viola, the cello to be done. See how it's kind of doing that? That kind of thing. All right, so here's the long and short of it. We just took a really simple theme and we orchestrated it two entirely different ways. And all we used was the following. We used the rule of wherever the main thing is, pick an instrument that fits that color. And then what we also did was we picked a rule of wherever the main thing is, get out of the way and watch the range. I only put the bass, the root, and the fifth down in that low register, and I put the third up on top. And all of a sudden, we've got something that's actually got some. That's an octave. That's a huge, you know. And then Matthias has a question for me. That's good. We'll probably wrap up with this question, which is good. And here's the other version. That's actually not a bad. That's not bad actually. That's not bad at all. That's got something to it. I'd have to massage the playing a bit. It's not right. So two totally different colors. Just look, I haven't even gone into the characteristics of each instrument, which is a whole nother class. But just register will get you going. Okay? All right, let me go look at Matthias. Matthias, do you ever rewrite what you wrote before? It better not be about VEP. Yeah, Matthias, write that in there. All right, so listen, let's take a break there and actually spend 2 hours. Wow, see, orchestration, I could talk about this for hours. But you'll notice the simple act of listening to my registers and doing the whole low, medium, high, wherever the main thing is, getting out of the way, it creates interesting colors. Well, if I'm up high here with the winds, I really have to be the flutes and the oboes. Well, if I'm down here with the strings, it really should be cellos. And if you want to be sneaky and if you want to channel Yoda, you grab French horns and you double French horns on that, and it will sound amazing. Okay, here we go. Let me just do this real fast. See a little French horn action there? I have to play it a little better. That sounds pretty good though. Actually, this one came out really well. All right, let me ask Matthias a question. Everyone, put your questions in now. This one has a little Jeremy Soule to it. Look, and Sonar's only going at like 50 to 60%, or not even. It's like it's not Sonar. I've got my graphics card bites because I didn't order this computer from Jim Roseberry at Studio Cat, and I should have. I needed it fast, so I went down the street to a very good company, but they're a gaming company, and their gaming company is the graphics card can't interrupt the gameplay, so it gets a priority. So here I'm like, I need the opposite. I'm like, I'd rather the graphics card stutter and have the audio card not be interrupted at the processor level. Whatever, it is what it is. All right, so Matthias, do you have some instruments reserved for doubling only? Meaning you basically never use them as the main thing. Yes, in that register that I showed you, the low bass register and the high one, which is the low bass register is the bass, the tuba, the contrabassoon, the high register is the piccolo, violin harmonics. I almost always use them for doubling unless it's an effect. What I mean is, and it's a shame I have not put my contrabassoon in yet, but I'll see if I can fake it with the bassoon. Oh, quiet you. Okay. You might recognize this. Right? Okay, that is by itself because Williams wanted that color. But notice, he doesn't put anything else around there. He lets it be a solo color. That's orchestrating for color. We were just like, look, man, I just love the sound of a bass clarinet. Who doesn't love the sound of a bass clarinet? And you just write it there. But if you're dealing with any sort of like ensemble stuff, like I personally have never written for the piccolo in a cue and then had like thick orchestration under it. It wouldn't work and the balance is all off. You know what I mean? If I was doing that piccolo, I'd be like, it's just the piccolo, you know, by itself. Maybe a little bit of something, maybe like some shimmery strings down low, maybe. Conversely, same thing with the bassoon. If I'm doing the bassoon down here, if I'm doing like, you know, kind of gray, moody bassoon, I'm getting down to the contra bassoon register. I'm letting that sit by itself. I want everyone to hear that bassoon. See what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like I want it to be like its own color. I think that's the best way to put it. So again, look at that range thing that I showed earlier on in the video. And if anything is parking itself up in that extension range down there, you don't use it that much by itself unless you love the color, and you should love the color, and then do it all by itself. If you're like, man, I want that bass clarinet to sit down there and be all creepy and weird, just play the bass clarinet. Oh, and then you create some variations. So like you do stuff like this. Like let's say the bassoon was by itself, right? I'm like, I'm gonna do a low bassoon thing, okay? All right, stop there. Let it be by itself. I've been low for a while. Let's be high. Let's put a harp in. Yeah, I'll do that. That'll be a nice little thing. Okay, you see how I took the harp there? And I'm actually gonna double it with the celeste because that's what Williams would do. And I'm being late. I have no idea what I just played, so I'm gonna like just drag it because I'm a jerk. Look what I did. Watch. Matthias, here we go. Okay. Now the bassoon had its time by itself. Sounded beautiful. I did something that got me into the upper register. And now he'll do something like this, which is what Williams would do. He would do mysterious flute sustain with a portamento, because that sounds cool. And he would do augmented chords. Oh, and he wouldn't have the bassoon, the piccolo on. Actually, maybe he would, but whatever, I'm not doing this. Look, Matthias, this is your point of like, it's low by itself, and that should be a contra bassoon. I just haven't programmed it in yet. Look, I just did a Williams mysterious cue. And all I did was I went low, I did a gliss, and then I went high. Like when you think that simply and you just have some vocabulary. Yeah, the bassoon is low in volume, and here's why. It's balanced to be in that place. It's balanced to be over there. What I do, and here's a little hint of how I do my template. If you'll notice, I have something here. See, I have warm kind flute legato. Beautiful sound. But if I want a solo, I reloaded the patch, but I boosted it by like 4 or 5 decibels and gave it a bit of a high-end boost. That's my solo. That's if it needs a solo. So you don't have to have just one instrument. Like I have one instrument that's like, oh, okay, I'm soloing against an orchestra. I need it to kind of be the equivalent of being boosted a little bit. Like in a real orchestra, you would boost the spot mic or you would boost the overhead mic. Well, that's how I fake it. Does that make sense? So I have 2 versions of it. I have one that's a little bit further away, lower volume, a little bit of rolling off, and then I have one that's a little bit closer, which is volume's boosted a bit and a bit of a high-end shelf. Hey, that's a cute little cue I just did, little thing. But look, man, it sounds great by itself. Ears drawn to it. I get it to the high level with a transitional thing. And how did I pick those structures? I just picked augmented triads, just move them around. That's just kind of fun. That's what Williams does when he's just trying to be like non-tonal. If you want to be non-tonal, pick a structure, a major triad, an augmented triad, and just move it around. Look, check it out. Because you're just trying to erase any idea of like, a key. So like if I take the violins and I'm like, I'm just literally just like moving triads. I'm like, whatever, move it up and down. It's a cheap fake. It's just such a cheap fake. Everyone's like, oh, you sound like John Williams. I'm like, yeah. That's what John had an hour to get another 40 seconds of music in. He's like, I'll just do this, whatever. That's like Elmer Bernstein does that in Ghostbusters too. It's like Bill Murray's walking in and it's like he'll do this. You've heard this 1,000 times. He'll do it with tremolos. It's like everyone thinks there's so much. There's a lot of complexity to film scoring, but that ain't one of it. All right, listen. It is 4:37, and I have got to get wrapped up. It's been a wonderful Farkle Friday. You know what? Let's take 5 minutes. Any last questions? And you know what? We only scratched the surface of orchestration. I mean, look, what did you guys expect in 2 hours? I mean, Scott Smalley does a fantastic in-depth beginner course to orchestration, meaning it's incredibly in-depth and incredibly useful, but it like starts you on your journey, and that's 16 hours, and we just spent 2, and you're getting it for free. Not that I care. I just, So, okay, great. Catherine's having her lesson. Wonderful. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta go pay her. So, questions. Last little bit of questions. I'm gonna pour myself another one of these. Cause hey, why not keep drinking? It's Farkle Friday. Mm-hmm. Did I bump the? Hey, was this helpful? So hey, so look, here's the last little thing that I'll tell you. What helps is this. It does help to have a fairly complete loaded template, because when you make those decisions as an orchestrator, and those decisions are very easy to make, of like, I know what family I want to be in right now. I want to be in the winds. I know if I want to be low, medium, or high. Then you can instantly click on the instrument. I want to be medium, click on the clarinet, ready to go. I want to be high strings, click on the violins, ready to go. I want to be low brass, click on the trombones, okay? The trombones are great. Everyone thinks that the trombones are just like, like, oh, it's just doing big hacky chords. Dude, you can do, and Goldsmith does it a lot. Silvestri does it a lot, where it's like, there's some great stuff. I got to make it even bigger. Hold on a sec here. Get that bad boy even bigger. Well, I don't like that one. I don't know why. Okay, a couple last questions on that. First up, Matthias, do I use ensemble patches? Yes, I do, in 2 ways. One is, if the ensemble patch just sounds great, I load it in. For example, this Fulbright 2-minute is actually it's actually Symphobia, but I love it down low, so I loaded it with my trombones. Yeah, it's got the French horns. I don't use it though, I double it. It sounds fantastic when I load it with this. Check this out. Secondly, I am going to build one more folder called Sketch. And that Sketch folder is just going to have a piano, Symphobia strings, shorts, Symphobia strings long, Symphobia shorts, Symphobia brass shorts, Symphobia brass long. And the reason why is it is nice to just have something where it's like, I'm just getting some ideas out, I'm hanging out, having fun, I'm just sketching. This is obviously my template that is actually mapped out, very similar to how an actual score would look, which is its own thing. Chell, what that MIDI transpose plugin, it is a Sonar plugin, but I can guarantee you that most, if not all DAWs have that. It is a simple plugin. that, and what I haven't done yet, but what I'm going to do, this is why this time it takes so long, is you set it to a MIDI controller. Because sometimes you want to be playing your first violin at pitch, and then you just press the MIDI button, and all of a sudden it goes up an octave, and you're like, okay, great. Now for that moment in time, you'll see a little automation wheel will just pop up for an octave. Now you're playing in octaves. You turn it off, it goes back down. Those are the kind of tricks that allow professional MIDI mock-up people to be much faster. Okay, I can guarantee you Cubase has that somewhere. I know for a fact it does. Just gotta dig it out. Just Google MIDI transpose Cubase. You'll find it in like 3 minutes. Any other final question? You know what? I feel kind of bad because I had 2 other things I want to talk about, but I was like, man, there's just so much to talk about with this. But going back to my contentious statements, which I don't want to end it with a contentious statement, but how nice is it to leave percussion till the end? Unless you choose for it to be a percussion groove. There is nothing wrong with starting a groove and being like, this groove is going to be... There's nothing wrong with the percussion being like, where the groove starts, it's like... You know, and the snare is doing its thing. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, this is the inspector. Sonar is very similar to Logic in many ways. It's actually a hybrid of Logic and Cubase. Yeah, the FX over here. Look, I've got a MIDI FX, and I've got an arpeggiator, a chord analyzer, a MIDI delay, just repeats the note, quantized, transpose, velocity, all that stuff. Logic has it, Cubase has it, totally. Give me a sec, I just want to check one thing really quickly. Is my gain all at 0? Because I need this thing balanced and correct. Okay, it is 0, 0, 0, 0. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, obviously you should totally use that. It's a great little trick. But here's what makes orchestration a lot of fun. And we talked a little bit about this. Start with the main thing. If you've got a piano melody, put that in first. Don't sweat about the whole, what am I going to put under the harmonies? Put the main thing in first, because the color will give you ideas. You know, putting, got this really great theme that I'm playing with, and I don't mean to brag about it, I just really like it. It's like, the minute you play that in the clarinet, you've got ideas. You're like, oh, I know. Piano will go, you know, the piano will go do this. Da 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 da. You see what I mean? Like the other stuff starts to fall into place. Okay, let me think what else. No, it's good. It's a 2-hour Farkle Friday. This is good. And I gotta go party. All right. I feel like I was like a little bit more like out in space, not in a bad way, but I'm saying like there's so much to cover here, and I just was like, oh my gosh, orchestration is such a big topic. It's so much, to me, it's so much bigger than composing, because composing, it's like, here's your idea, how you get it, but it's orchestration. There's so many decisions. Does the idea start in the trumpets? Does the other? I will leave you with one final thing. The best way to become a great orchestrator is to listen to great orchestral music. And actually, you know what? I will do a more comprehensive one at some point in the future where we talk about seminal orchestral pieces. But right now, what I will say you should do, what course was I mentioning earlier? Orchestrating the Line by Alan Mayran, that's an amazing course. Or Equal Interval System, that's an amazing course too. Those are the 2 that I've taken. I would recommend, if nothing else, you listen to the following. Here's four pieces of music you should listen to. 4 pieces. You know, even write it down. Because you should listen to the people who are doing it better than anybody else. And I know everyone's like, I want to write epic, I want to write epic. I'm like, okay, well, you can, but learn what people can do with the orchestra when you're not trying to be epic. Ravel, Daphnis, and Chloe. It's ballet. We'll do another Farkle Friday when we talk about this. I'm going to put a couple of these out. Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet. It's a full ballet, and the ballet is amazing. You can listen to that. And you should listen to the suites from the ballet. Not suite 3, it's weird. 1 and suite 2. These are good starting ones. There's a lot of beautiful clarity of melody. There's some epic moments. I'm going to play a little bit of that for you. Stravinsky, Rite of Spring. It's a ballet. It's funny, a lot of these are ballets. And the Firebird. I like the suite from 1919. It was made into an orchestral suite, which is almost like a story without words. And I also like the full ballet. And Copland, Appalachian Spring, and 4 dances from Rodeo, which is a ballet. There's a lot of ballets here. Start with those. Just listen to those. You know what? Wagner, not as much. Wagner's good. I'm talking about people who are, and this is a whole other class, the seminal orchestrators of our time. Wagner's stuff is very good, but he didn't have the knowledge of color that Rimsky-Korsakov had. Wagner's big thing that he contributed was the sense of dramaturgy and the sense of, in my opinion, and the sense of motivic, of a leitmotif, of a motive that appears over and over that reincorporates and ties the story together. He had very, very solid orchestration techniques. But he got his orchestration techniques from transcribing all of Beethoven's symphonies. He copied all 9 symphonies note for note, which is fine. Beethoven's got an excellent orchestrator. But he didn't have a sense of color like Rimsky-Korsakov. Rimsky-Korsakov, you ever listen to his... I put those in there because those guys were students of Rimsky. Prokofiev and Stravinsky, and then Copland studied Rimsky, and I think Ravel did too. If you listen to like the Great Garden of the Kesh and the what's the one I love? The 1001 Arabian Nights. Gosh, what is it? I have it right over there. Where are you, Rimsky? Hold on, let me look it up. I literally just had it, and now I don't know where it is. Yes, Scheherazade. Oh no, the stream died. Is the stream back? I'm going to take 15 seconds. I wonder why it died. You know why? Because I'm in Philadelphia and everyone's downloading porn right now. So this is probably a good time to wrap up. Wagner had an amazing sense of dramaturgy and a sense of leitmotif and a sense of a piece of a motive that would tie the story together. But Rimsky-Korsakov's color and sense of orchestral color was, I think, second to none. He did a piece called Scheherazade, which was based on the 1001 Arabian Nights. It's phenomenal. We'll talk about it next week or whenever we do it next. But, there's a lot of people that are, Wagner. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm a fan of the Russian and the French. They're the ones that I dig. But if nothing else, listen to these 5 or 6 pieces. Ravel, Daphnis and Chloe, Romeo and Juliet, Rite of Spring, the Firebird, Appalachian Spring. In fact, we're going to end with a little bit of this. Listen to how amazing this coloration is. This is, a really famous piece. Here, look at it one more time. Ravel, Prokofiev, Stravinsky, and Rite of Spring. Oh, we're going to go to my favorite part. Prokofiev, listen to this. This is Prokofiev, Suite 2. This is when Romeo says bye to Juliet, I think. You guys should be able to hear this, okay. I gotta find the right spot. Okay, I want you to listen to this. And how amazing this cinema. This is from Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet suite. Okay, give me a sec here. This beautiful and tender. Listen to this moment. This is when Juliet and Romeo have to leave. They're in love and they have to leave. If you think these guys weren't borrowing, now that's epic French horns right there. And that's in the tenor range, it's not in the alto range. And there's the main Romeo theme. Oh, this is a great thing to end on, Gunvor. And that's wonderfully said. He goes, oh, interesting, it reminds me of Diablo music. All the great composers that we love, they were listening to this stuff. If you listen to all the great ones, like Gerard Marino did the video game stuff, and Enon Zurot, they're all like Prokofiev, Stravinsky, Ravel, Beethoven, Wagner, Mussorgsky. Like they're just like Mendelssohn, Respighi. Like there's like a half dozen, Holst. There's like a half dozen of these cats that everybody listened to. So why would you not want to? If you want to learn orchestration, it's like when I first started studying martial arts, and I was like, I really want to learn. Well, I found the best dudes to study, or I studied under people that studied under Bruce Lee because I'm like, this dude was the best. And I found the guys that studied under, Remy Priest is one of the best Filipino stick fighters in the world at the time. It's like, so, go and listen to this. Go and start off your journey with that. These are 4 great pieces that you'll be stunned by the passion. But listen to them. Don't put them on the background playing a video game. Like, find a spot, go out on your front porch, pour yourself a beverage, put it on, and just sit and just bask in it. Just bask in the storytelling and the color and the drama and the melodic development and just the emotion of it, And you'll find stuff that you don't like. There's parts of the Rite, people like rave about the Rite of Spring, and there's parts of it that I adore. There's parts of it that I'm like, this stinks. I'm like, I can't stand it. But with stuff that's on, I'm more of a fan of Firebird. I think Firebird is a, but Rite of Spring has a couple of really important moments in there. Like it has the augers, this big. Can I share the Spotify playlist? Yeah. I will put the Spotify playlist up tonight or tomorrow onto Discord. It's super easy. It's all of you listen to it. I want you all to listen to this great stuff. I found it. Never mind. Too late. It's already up. Farkle Friday. It's great. It's I just threw some stuff that I love. It's one of these things where it's like you'll never have a bad experience listening to these pieces. And there's a ton of, there's the Rite of Spring, the Firebird, my favorite piece by Barber, The School for Scandal, which somebody on Discord was like, this is amazing. I'm like, I know. All right, 2.5 hours. We're getting close to Mike Verda time here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was exciting. Even if you don't want to compose this weekend because just things are going on, load up the Farkle Friday playlist. Grab Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe, one of my favorite pieces. It's beautiful. The Romeo and Juliet suites I love. Grab the Firebird. There's 2. There's the full ballet and there's a suite where Stravinsky took important parts of it and kind of condensed it. Listen to Appalachian Spring. I mean, it's so amazing. And actually Billy the Kid, which is like, it's so funny. Copeland was a Jewish guy from Brooklyn and he captured the Americana sound perfectly. I mentioned a course, okay? I mentioned a course, paid. I didn't catch that. What's the course that I mentioned? Nobody knows it now. The equal interval system? Orchestrating the line? Or a course that I taught at the University of the Arts? I taught a course at the University of the Arts, but that was just, you have to be a student there. That's an orchestration course. I teach that there. I taught it this year. It was fun. I taught the orchestration in Philadelphia. Yeah, but you have to be in Philadelphia. You can't do it if you're anywhere else. Sorry. You can always study privately with me. I'll probably put something together. I'll do another Farkle Friday or something like that. Anyways, this hopefully will be enough to get you started. Have some fun with it. Gentlemen, go enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for another great Farkle Friday. And I will hopefully get back in 2 weeks for another one. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you all for a great, great Farkle Friday.